Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today is your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the resources available for lawfare or lawsuits that harass a target or a series of targets, or oppose or are used to prevent or stymie the activities of another party, not because any laws necessarily being broken, but simply because it's ideologically viewed to be undesirable. Now, we can see the lawfare thing with the way they go after Donald Trump in the United States. Vast resources are available, infinite resources are available to do that. Now, anyone who opposes the globalist project or who are deemed to come from groups such as straight white males, Christians, that are going to be least likely to appreciate or agree with the globalist project, those groups are all deemed as they've renamed them. They're, you disagree with the globalist project, you're a Nazi, you're probably Hitler even. And so this is used as justification to go and harass these people. Now, remember, whenever there's a lawsuit, you have to have a Justice Department, people to sign off on it. Budgets have to be allocated. Prosecutors are involved. There's judges, there's courts. There's a whole lot of what would theoretically be safeguards against abusive process. But no one ever considered a situation where the prosecutors, the Justice Department, the police, the law enforcement authorities, the judges, the courts administration would all be infiltrated with activists who are there to assist the globalist cause, or at least to crush any dissent or questions. And they believe to oppose the globalist project is to be Hitler. If you question or oppose the globalist project, you are Hitler, and therefore they have a right to do anything they want to you and to fabricate any evidence and so on. So there's a case I saw, this is in Europe, where quite a well-known writer who called an LGBTQ activist, a radical activist in my view at least, and called her a fat lesbian. She was well proportioned and she was a lesbian. So I don't know what the issue was there, but it was decided we'll get him for this. We'll nail him. We'll show those fucking white fucking motherfucking Nazis. We'll show them that we're in charge around here. And they just put one word out of place. We will hammer them with all the resources of the state, and they'll be nailed to the cross, as it were. So the government swung into action on the basis, well, if you call someone a fat lesbian, that's really hate speech. And given your intention was hate, therefore you're a Nazi, therefore you're Hitler, bingo, caught for you, motherfucker. And somehow an activist prosecutors were found with surprising speed, by the way, and the government was prepared to pour infinite resources into it. And it can sometimes take a lot of money to do these things. And again, someone has to sign off on that taxpayer money. We're going to nail some guy because he called someone a fat lesbian, and we're going to spend however much it takes of the taxpayers' money to nail this Nazi motherfucker. So that's a very odd position to take. Surely that would be a civil case. Someone says, you've defamed me, or I don't like what you said, and then a judge has to hear it in a court, and you'd be hard pushed to win something like that, I would think. Given that the information was accurate, as best I can assess anyway. So she was fat, she was a lesbian. So now it's unkind to say those sort of things. It's rather rude, I think, if not uncouth. But this activist has no problem in saying terrible things about straight people or terrible things about straight white males. So why isn't the state or the government just as eager to prosecute her for doing those things? Why is it only a one-way prosecution? So clearly the rule of law isn't being evenly applied. One person's being ruthlessly chased whilst another one is being allowed to spread whatever hatred she wants. And I don't understand that. Surely the law should be applied equally in this case, but not so. They want to go after this guy for having anti-LGBTQ. So the whole case was, well, what you really intended to do was to spread hatred towards to incite hatred, to be Hitler. And so they have to assume someone's state of mind and a whole lot of things that you can't prove in a court. So already we know that the court and the judge and the judgment was ideological. The decision to go after the guy was a purely ideological decision, not a factual decision or a matter of impartially decided was the law contravened or not. And so now I couldn't find a news story that was independent or impartial about this guy. He was depicted very much, he's a neo-Nazi, and because he once, apparently some years ago, he questioned the numbers that were supposedly involved in the Holocaust, whether they were, X numbers or a different number or logistically would have been possible, and, these sorts of things. So I asked some questions that if in an open and honest society, you could have just clearly debated and discussed and people could lay out their facts and again debate the issues, but not so. And I think he was prosecuted for that some years ago. So they lead with that, Holocaust denier, Nazi, fucking fascist. And so he got what was coming to him, the damn Hitler. But again, it's ideological. They're chasing him for ideological reasons, not because he transgressed the law, or they would make strangled technical interpretations of the law in order to go after him. Now, apparently, the case is under appeal, so there's more to go on this, and a higher court that one assumes would have a higher standard of fact-based evidence would probably overturn the lower court decision, I would think. But we're seeing this all over the place. There was other cases all around where there's been a very concerted attempt, in my view at least, to go after anybody who questions the LGBTQ orthodoxy. Now, we have to understand there are three primary fault lines that the globalists use to disrupt and crush Western society, to destroy all social trust between the people, and to make society, in effect, ungovernable, to actually inject as much anarchy at really all levels as they can. So they'll go and arrest somebody for calling somebody a lesbian, but you can go and rob somebody and beat them senseless, and that's not a crime. You can go there. So these fault lines are in a social type level, race, gender, and LGBTQ, and so the globalists want to inject those three things very much into every Western society. We've got a situation in Australia where there's an amendment to the Constitution to create a special representative body for blacks only, and this is again, there's just not enough racial division in Australia. So the globalists, I think, have sat around and decided, okay, we've got to inject more race division in Australia. New Zealand's got the Maoris, America's got the Negroes. They're importing a massive black. A massive black sort of subculture, if you like, into the United Kingdom and Europe, but Australia just doesn't have enough racial disharmony. So the globalists really want this because it's then something they can milk and exploit forever, for all time. So it's LGBTQ, race, and gender. These are now with the law. Then it's unequal application of the law, whether it be in the rule of law or through due legal process. So it's ideological law, which we saw in the case of this guy being imprisoned for. I mean, the guy's been put in prison for calling someone a lesbian who was a lesbian. I don't. Can you believe such madness is even happening? I mean, are we even talking about it? Is insane. But this is what we see now. The resources available for this lawfare, whether it be harassment of Donald Trump or the massive resources that were available to try and obstruct his Donald Trump's first the policies of his first administration. There was massive resources available for that. Yet in response, there's hardly any resources. Why, when someone spreads white hatred or hatred against straight white males or hatred against white people generally, why is there not various groups and organisations that go chasing after these people and shut them down? Why are they not being dragged into court? And why are there not the resources to do that? Because it's all one way at the moment. These people can have a free kick every day, all day, and with almost no repercussions. And yet the raw material, if you like, is out there to go after these people if the will and the resources are there, but it's simply not. So the other side can get away with pretty much whatever they want with impunity. Again, they've got the support of the state and the globalist institutions, NGOs and George Soros, and they've got all that sort of stuff in their side. But until they've got proper skin in the game, that they start suffering penalties. It's like any bully or any thug. They're happy to pick on the easy targets, but as soon as it's going to cost them, then they don't want to do it anymore. Suddenly it's, no, there's too much risk in this for me. I think I'll go and find something else to do. And this is what we need to do to fight back against these goons, these bullies, these thugs. And the only way to do that is to make sure that they suffer some penalties for this. You've been fantastic today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.